Along with Emperor Palpatine's elite royal guard, whose sole purpose it was to protect and serve their emperor, there was another offshoot of Imperial guards trained and commanded by the Sith Lord, Darth Vader. After Order 66, not all Jedi were killed by the clone troopers or Darth Vader. Some Jedi embraced the dark fate of the Order and turned to the dark side of the Force, welcoming their new masters in Vader and Sidious. While some of the more powerful Jedi left alive received the role of Imperial Inquisitors after Order 66, others were given less prestigious roles within the Empire. Some of these former Jedi became shadow guards under the supervision of Darth Vader. Most of these former Jedi did not immediately submit to the dark side though. Most Jedi had to be tortured for months before submitting, and in addition to this, they had to have their minds altered by the power of the dark side. Lord Vader was also very picky about who he chose to join his shadow guard ranks, as he did not want any extremely powerful Jedi among him that could potentially turn on him in the midst of battle. Because of this, Vader corrupted and selected middle-of-the-road to weak Jedi to become shadow guards. After submitting to Vader, the Dark Lord would personally train them in the arts of the dark side, showing them how to use their hatred, but also limiting what they learned as to not train potential rivals. However, even despite their limited training with Lord Vader, some guards displayed quite the gift with the Force and power to use multiple abilities, with some even demonstrating the knowledge on how to use Force lightning. Because of their ability to use the Force, the Shadow Guards were widely talked about throughout the Empire, as many Imperial workers grew to fear them. This mostly stemmed from the fact that these Shadow Guards never spoke, leading some to theorize it was because Darth Vader had poisoned and altered their minds to such an extent there was nothing left but his and the Emperor's command. Many of these guards were gifted standard lightsabers to use, while others were given lightsaber pikes that appeared more similar to the original Royal Guard staffs. The exact number of Shadow Guards under Vader's command is unknown, but the numbers were speculated within the Empire not to be huge, as Vader and the Emperor himself were always weary of training more Force sensitives. Because of this, these Shadow Guards were only deployed on very particular missions, and often missions that involved capturing or killing other Force users. The most well-known time Shadow Guards have been deployed is while trying to apprehend both Galen Merrick and Starkiller, as Vader deployed them with hopes their knowledge of the Force could help him in recapturing his experiment. The Shadow Guards were also deployed to deal with Jedi that had survived Order 66, although this was even more of a rare occurrence, as Lord Vader had already done much of his work killing Jedi that had survived. Certain members of Palpatine's Royal Guard were also selected to serve as Shadow Guards, if it was discovered they were in fact Force sensitive and powerful enough to be trained by Darth Vader in lightsaber combat with surviving. Many have hypothesized that this was the ultimate fate of many individuals in the galaxy found to be Force sensitive after the rise of the Empire, that Darth Vader would seize them and take them for training, when in actuality, this is only what occurred with the lucky ones. Most often after the Empire, Palpatine would order Force sensitives to be killed, as again, to eliminate any potential rivals that could stand in his way. Many of the Shadow Guards were given the task to oversee and protect the Jedi Temple, as Palpatine believed many Jedi would attempt to enter it in the years after the Empire, and Palpatine desired to have Force sensitives of his own waiting and prepared to combat any intruders. Many of the Shadow Guards also commanded stormtrooper squads of their own when venturing into battle, distinguishing them further as deadly weapons of the Emperor and Lord Vader. The true origin of most of the Shadow Guards, however, was not that of a Jedi Knight, although those did exist. Originally, most of the Shadow Guards were taken from the ranks of the Sun Guards and servants found to have a connection with the Force. The Sun Guards served the Sith Order for centuries and during the Clone Wars continued to do so, even forming a rivalry with the Mandalorians and distinguishing themselves as some of the only individuals capable of defeating Mandalorians warrior to warrior. Near the end of the Clone Wars, Palpatine ordered a final test for the Sun Guard by deploying Asajj Ventress to kill as many as she could. After Ventress's massacre, those that survived were allowed to join the Royal Guards, as they had proven their merit against a Force user. Those shown powerful enough to command the Force on their own were handed over to Darth Vader for training in the dark side of the Force. Those selected, if they survived the training, would eventually become Shadow Guards. In the novelization for The Force Unleashed, it is explained several times the difficulty Galen Merrick has with combating the Shadow Guards, as he even begins referring to them as true Sith warriors. Out of the cloud of metal fragments leaped a second of the Emperor's Sith assassins, saber staff upraised. The apprentice met him with a clash of sparks and lightning. Sith against Sith, they fought backward and forward through the broad, metal-lined space. This assassin was more proficient than the first, weary and strong, with a good reach and penchant for telekinetically throwing items from inside the apprentice's blind spot. On a separate occasion, if even for a brief period of time, a Shadow Guard managed to match Galen in a show of Force lightning. A bolt of Sith lightning shot from the hand not holding the staff. The apprentice grinned, having anticipated this tactic. He met the lightning bolt with one of his own. They collided in a spitting, tackling ball of pure energy that danced crazily from side to side. So that was the Imperial Shadow Guard, and why Darth Vader picked former Jedi and other powerful Force sensitives to join the ranks of his personally trained Shadow Guards. But I would love to hear what you think of the Shadow Guard, and as a big question, who do you think would win in a one-on-one fight between one of the Emperor's Royal Guards and one of the Shadow Guards? If you would like to join me in the daily Star Wars discussion and debates, follow me on Twitter at Stupendous Wave. Link will be in the description. If you enjoyed this video and feel it deserves it, it would really help me out if you could leave a like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel to keep up to date with everything Star Wars related, from news, explanations, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. If you have any video topics you would like to see addressed in a future video, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments below the video, or again, tweet them at me. As always, your viewership and support means the world. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.